All right, everyone, we are here with two very special guests. We have the Love Island USA 2023 winners, Hannah and Marco, here on Zoom. We're excited to talk to you guys. How are you doing? Is it just like absolute love bubble right now?
Yeah, it really is. Honestly, we touched down in LA like 2 days ago, and it's just been crazy busy. Went to Disneyland right after getting back. That was a lot. And then the culture shock is real too, like just being back in society.
Mm.
It's a lot of emotions, but it's been great. Like the support coming out has been amazing. Right now we're spending time with family. And yeah, it's just been great to be with him on the outside for sure.
Yeah, definitely. There's always that honeymoon phase you're worried about. Like I said, we spent 6 weeks together, nonstop, 24/7, not being able to like leave or go anywhere else. So I thought that honeymoon phase, would start to dwindle out, and it has. But like the love has continued, to grow stronger and stronger from our little late night Walmart runs, going to Disneyland and just showing, you know, people what it's like for like being enjoyment on their end. We had a lot of people come up to us and just say they had so much fun watching us, and we helped them get through hard times. We had a lady say that she got a little emotional. She had a rough week with her family, had some news about a family member going into the hospital, and said that she would just watch Love Island to get through it. And she started breaking down. So I thought that was truly special to be part of that, and just put out a positive message to everybody.
Yeah, I think that's the best part about Love Island is that you really start to get to know you guys and you're tuning in so much. It's so often. When you were leaving the villa, what was the top priority? What was the first thing on your mind? Like, this is the first thing I'm doing when I get out of here.
To call my mom. It was just crazy to get our phones back. So yeah, called family, but then Chipotle was like a priority
Oh,
too.
we had to kill Chipotle.
It was so good too. Like
I bet.
Yes.
yeah. So that was a priority.
Family was definitely the first priority.
Yeah.
It still is our priority. We got to make our rounds. So we're in Palm Springs right now, California. Then I'm going to head to Florida where I'm at with my friends and family. Then I'm going to go up to Ohio where I'm from. But yeah, so first priority getting out of the bill was definitely to call my parents, check in on life. What did we miss? There's been a
Right.
lot of news flashed through the past couple months, and we had no idea. She had a hurricane.
Yeah, we had a hurricane
in the desert.
Cali.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
And
The
an
desert.
earthquake in the same day in California. That did happen.
Oh hell, just
Yeah. Like, what did we miss in Fiji in the middle of nowhere?
Right.
I think that you,
unbelievable.
like, as a viewer, you forget that you guys don't even get news. You don't know what's happening over there.
Nah, we tried to get stuff too out of like the talent managers, producers. Like, so is there any like gossip you get? Nah, they wouldn't tell us.
What's happening in the pop culture world?
Yeah.
Nothing.
I know.
Horrible.
We had Maura Higgins on our show a couple weeks ago, and she was joking too that contestants were like, hey, can you tell us anything? Like anything
Yeah.
on the outside world? What's going
Oh,
on?
we would love, we would love just the time once in a while.
Yeah.
Just the time. That's it.
all.
Couldn't even get that. We're
That-
trying to sneak Apple Watch like looks, trying to see, on producer's wrist. Can't get anything.
That
It's
is so
unbelievable.
crazy to me. And we've talked about this before. It's just like, I don't know why, but like not knowing the time of day would just be so disorienting.
Did you start to get to know it a little bit, or you just up in the
Reading
air
a
every day?
sundial?
Yeah.
We were
Yeah.
there so long that it was wintertime, so it kept
True.
changing. The sun kept going down quicker, and then it started to get brighter later at night. So it was impossible.
But then like Harrison, who's on the show, he'd be like, I'm guessing it's about 9, 10 a.m. right now. like, how do you even know? Like so we would guess just like for fun, but yeah, no.
That
no
is
idea.
crazy.
Especially in Fiji.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you guys really were together for a majority of the season. You made it all the way to the end. I want to ask you guys, what were your first initial impressions of each other when you first met in the villa?
Okay, so mine of Marco was very different. So first, I'll say first impression. I was attracted to him. He's definitely my type. I said in my interviews, tall, athletic, funny. So,
6'3", solid steel, and sex.
but I walked in. Yeah, that was his thing. So I walked in, he's just staring at me, like just smiling. He's just giddy. So I was like trying not to look at him, and like I was like, I don't know if I want to like steer clear. I thought he was like giving like little player vibes. And then when I was in the villa, he was coupled up with a girl already on the first day. So, you know, you're in the dressing room, girls are talking about everything, and people were talking about him and like their impression of him. So when I chose to steal him, that was my job as a bombshell. I really had to like block out the noise because everyone was kind of talking shit about him. So I was like, all right.
I was gonna say, who chewed you out at the beginning? Destiny?
Who do you think?
I was definitely Destiny. I was like, I was like, and I'm sure Destiny was not holding back in the dressing room either.
No, exactly. And I'm just sitting there awkwardly like, okay, like just putting my mascara on, like, well, all right. But hey, he's nice to me. So I really had to just block that out and make my decision. And I'm so happy I did because like, yeah. So every time someone came in, I gave them that advice. I'm like, don't listen to what other people are saying. Like, do you based off what you feel. So it worked out for me.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of viewers out there, you know, that will watch this show. In the beginning, all the guys are asked their type, and I was kind of annoyed, you know, when I was sitting in my first guys chat, we were going around like, "What's your type?" They'd sit there like, "I don't really have a type, you know, everybody's beautiful." Like, that's bullshit, dude. You have a type. You got to. We're here. You got to have something. So when they asked me my type, I was like, tan skin, brown hair, athletic, you know, great smile. Those were the things that I wanted to say as my type. And when I saw her walk in the second day out of the Hideaway doors, I think I jumped out of my seat, ran to the door, gave her the biggest hug, kiss on the cheek, didn't even say one word in our first conversation, just smiled at her. And she chose somebody else. So that hurt. That hit low. I was upset, I can't lie.
Just for the date.
Just the date.
Just the date, yeah.
So then, yes, you finally do connect. When did you guys have a moment that you thought like this is really something that could work? Does it happen way faster than you think? Obviously, everything is sped up in the villa.
Yeah, for sure. Like, honestly, I think it was a couple days in. So to be honest, me and Marco, we don't really open up easily to anybody. So, but he opened up to me about his past, and then I felt like, oh wow, okay, like this is something that I like. And then I opened up to him. So I want to say it was like our first chat you opened up like 2-3 days in. I was like, okay, so there is more to him.
She called me out on the first chat though that I wasn't opening up.
Yeah.
So and this is my first time talking to her. I was a little nervous and stuff. Still, when I look at her, I get nervous. She's so beautiful. So, but I got a little nervous. And my next chat, I kind of smoothed some things out, and I went to like in depth about my family, where I'm from, kind of my past. So it began to get better. But like I said, I knew right away, you know, from the second I laid my eyes on her, I knew just her energy, her smile. Obviously, I'm attracted to her. I just knew that I wasn't going to let, you know, another guy interfere that connection. And so I was competing, you know, it's a competition in Love Island, but I wasn't competing for anything besides competing for her heart the whole time. And that's all I worried about every single day, was proving myself to her, especially when you start off on a rough start, real rough start. So it was hard to fight back, but we did it.
Now, speaking of your past, obviously as a viewer, everybody gets excited to watch Casa more, but when you're in the villa, I bet it's, you know, very anxiety inducing. You don't know what's going to happen there. And Marco, we saw that your ex came in, but you shot that down. What was the initial reaction? And are you like, damn, they really did me like that? Like they're going to bring in my ex?
Sabotage.
Yeah, my initial reaction was it's kind of lame, to be honest. I was like, she capitalized on her opportunity. I mean, her name's Hannah. She's Hannah. I could see how, you know, she did that, but man, I don't know if I would fly across the country to know a door shut. It was an ex-situationship. I never even took her on a date. Never told her I liked her. But
damn, she's getting roasted.
Yeah,
says this to her too.
I yeah.
He's very
but it's just it is what it is. I mean, way to capitalize. I'm a business mind. I thought that was, you know, an amazing time for her to really pull her strings. She did it.
Right.
She got in there.
Right.
Love Island.
And I was so pissed.
She did couple up with somebody.
She did, yeah, but I wasn't mad about that.
Yeah.
You know, what was I about to say?
I don't know.
Shit.
Yeah, but you know what?
You said you were so pissed.
Yeah. I was just pissed that it happened like that, especially because we had a voice chat before, and I was fired up. I was like, Kenzo was like, "See, Marco, if you sleep outside, you're good to the Lord. You pray. God's going to bless you. The universe is going to bring you guys back together quicker than you thought. And we're all excited. I'm fired up. And then she walks in. I was just like, oh my God, you got to be kidding me. That's Love Island, though.
Yep.
Hannah O is, Hannah O. And at that point, I said she needed to go.
Oh, man. Hannah, how did you feel during Casa Amor? Because I know that it's obviously stressful and like it's a weird balance of trying to be respectful, but also not just like completely closing yourself off to everybody. How did you feel doing it?
Yeah, so like honestly, going into Casa, like I was like, okay, this is part of the show. Like I know it's gonna happen. So I wasn't mad about Casa. I was like, oh, it'll be good for me and him. We have some time apart. It'll make us stronger. So when we're like 2 days in and I got that video, the least thing that that was the last thing I expected ever. And then it was just a lot in that moment, getting that video and the craziness of it. And I was strong though. I stood strong and I was like, okay, well, I know how I feel, but I'd be lying if I didn't feel like sabotaged. I was like, okay, no one else is in this position but me. And then you think the worst. Okay, like he's told me one thing, but when exes are involved, it's a whole other situation. So I'm like, okay, if he goes back to his ex, like that's on him. Like I said what I said, but I definitely broke down a couple times and I was like, forget this. Like I want to get out of here, get back to the villa. So yeah, that was the hardest. And then to come back and to learn that it was like a situationship, like a fling, not even like a whole relationship.
Yeah, that relationship, play on words they did.
Yeah.
In the video, it was not easy for her to go through, especially when it wasn't even my girlfriend.
Right.
Never was my girlfriend. Like I said, business mind, I like it.
Yeah.
You got me. You got me. I don't really get the short end of the stick a lot, but I like it.
Yeah. There was so much drama this season. It was, from a viewer standpoint, entertaining to watch. But I know, Hannah, you kind of felt like a voice of reason to me for some of the other women. I think they would go to you a lot for advice, and that's a lot of what we saw. Because for me, I hope it all works out in the end. But watching KK and watching Cassie kind of like navigate those situations, in the moment you're like, ditch these guys. Like, what is happening? So how were you and the other women feeling? Because it's hard to kind of keep your opinions in when that stuff is happening.
Yeah, like I remember having a chat with like Carmen. I'm like, well, I'm not gonna waste my voice, you know what I mean? Like you're coming to me for advice, and that's one thing that bothers me, when you ask me for something and then it just goes one ear out the other. I'm like, okay, then why do I get myself involved? Why do I take on your emotions and support you? So that was definitely hard for me this season. Like, yeah, because you get so close and you just want the best for the girls, but it comes to a point too where I had to protect my own peace. Like, nah, I'm not going to get involved if it's just going to be a circle of emotions for me too. So there was a point at the end where I was like, all right, I'm gonna take a step back after Casa. I was like, okay, me and Marco, there's like a clip of us. We're like, you want to talk to anyone today? We're like, no. You want to talk to no one?
Yeah.
And I'm so happy I did that, because I feel like it definitely made my experience different after I chose to do that. So it was a learning experience, but it was hard.
Yeah, I wouldn't change giving the advice either in my standpoint. Yeah. I know she wouldn't. But when you give it, and then kind of nothing's changing, there came a time where I just wanted to hang out with Hannah, and that's okay. We tried to give our voice of reason and try to let everybody know how to build a strong relationship in here. And one, you just think with your head and not something else, as a man. And then for a girl, you got to stick by it. You got to be, the powerful woman you are. You got to know your worth and stuff. And I was trying to tell KK, like, you got to know your worth. You got to know your worth. I told Anna all the time before she left, like, if your person's not here, know your worth. Don't force something. And that's why I have mad respect for Anna saying up and leaving when her only option was Bergie. She wasn't going to force it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And some people, stayed on the show to be with Bergie. So it worked out in the end, and I'm just happy about that.
Yeah, definitely. I think this is maybe like one of the first times, I don't know, I could be totally wrong, but it felt like the final four couples, it felt like everybody had put a label on their relationships. It felt serious, more serious than I think past seasons, where I'm like, I don't really,
especially
I don't
coming
really know.
Off of UK.
Yeah, like
recently.
I don't really know like how this is going to work in the real world. And I think putting that like boyfriend, girlfriend label on it is obviously a big deal and shows that you want to actually make it work in the real world. Marco, I think everyone thought that maybe you were going to do it a little earlier than when you did, but I think Hannah, like you were joking.
Yeah,
you were like, he's jumping straight to marriage. She says we don't even need to do this, which is obviously funny, but I do think like it got to the point where I kind of forgot. Like in my mind, I was like, well, they're boyfriend, girlfriend. And then when it happened in like the last date, I was like, oh my God, I forgot he hasn't even asked her yet. So Marco, what made you wait so long?
Well, 5 days was full of just being nervous myself. I haven't had a girlfriend in probably 5 years now. I took a lot of time to myself to grow, within becoming a man from like the party boy I was, kind of that playboy that she initiated. We all been there, we had that party phase. So just being able to know my growth is seen in her eyes and I am someone that I know I am. And I know she's on that same page is kind of the first check with her. Second thing is one thing I wanted in this experience. I said in all the, pre-diagnosis of, Love Island, I need to find a girl, that values family dynamic. So when I saw my family on the screen talk about Hannah more than they talked about me, I knew like she's the one. So I wouldn't even, it was about probably 4 or 5 days after family night that I asked her, I would say, would that be about right? Maybe a week?
Yeah.
I said, we lose time in there. So,
yeah.
But, I had to make sure it was the right time. I had to make sure my dad approved, my sister approved, Aisha and the help approved. So, and to know that she was ready, I felt right in the jungle at night, serenaded by a beautiful musician playing a guitar
right.
in Fiji. I mean, at an unbelievable date. I was able to really lay my heart out there. And when I happened to realize after family night, I got really emotional about my mom. I saw, after I got off the show that I thought I wasn't even recording. I took off my mic and stuff, but it became a very vulnerable moment for me. And I just realized my mom sent me Hannah. And I prayed on it every day before I got in here. I read the Bible, every night before I go to sleep. And I just realized, one day it just caught up to me and I got really emotional that my mom sent Hannah. Just their name correlation when Hannah's mom came on and, her name's Maria with the black hair, red lipstick, literally the same look as my mom. I was just blown away. Unbelievable. Yeah. I got chills thinking about it. And that's when I knew, my mom really sent this angel to me. So I'm going to take it.
It's really beautiful.
Sweet.
Yeah, best gift I've ever received.
Yeah,
100%.
Absolutely. That's really a sweet, very, very sweet sentiment. I'm very happy for you guys. And I do think that the viewers all felt that way as well, obviously, because you guys won. What was your thoughts going into the finale? Were you hopeful that you were going to win? Were you even thinking about it? It's a lot of money, It's like a big deal.
Yeah, I feel like going into it, this whole ride, we're like, okay, if it's our time to go, it's our time to go. Like, you really don't know what people think of you. To be honest, I thought my mouth would give you trouble. I thought I would get me voted off. So, and every day things change. There was a clip where it was me and Hannah O and it was the dumping and Sarah Hyland just said Hannah. So I stood up. I was like, all right, well, and she's like, Hannah O. I was like, oh, okay. But anyway, so when we made it to the final, it was like, oh, wow, we're in the final. So that's great. We haven't been vulnerable once. So obviously I'm like, okay, so we're in a good position. But when we were up there in the final 2, I was like, oh, wow, this is happening. And then that's when I was like, okay, maybe we could win this. And I was just the shock of it all. It was just crazy. But yeah, you never know what people think.
Right.
Because things change so quick.
What surprised you guys the most going into Love Island? Obviously, you have your thoughts going into it, what you think it's going to be. What was something you took away that you were shocked by?
One thing? Wow. Yeah, there's
you can name a bunch.
Oh, man. Again, no time awareness, no idea of the day.
Yeah.
Your emotions are broadcasted 24/7 all day long. I fart when I sleep. That was known quite the amount of times. Pretty embarrassing. I can't even fart in peace.
Even when you're using the restroom.
When you're using the restroom everywhere.
Oh God.
And then we used to go in the shower so that no one could talk to us.
Under the water, you know?
So no one could hear us. We wake up the next morning, big ass mic right in the
Oh my God. They were like, you guys are not getting away with shit.
No,
And we tried.
We
We really
tried.
tried. Like, I'd be like, okay, let's go to the bathroom. Let's like have a little chat. Nope. They'd be on us in 2 seconds. So I think that's what was hard. Like, this really is 24/7 film.
Microscopic environment.
Yeah.
That's the hardest part.
For sure. Yeah.
And then obviously, when you go through hard times, the only people you want to talk to is your family.
Yeah.
And she became at that point my family. It was my best friend in there. It was the only girl I could talk to. You know, she already knew about where I come from, who I am, and when I have a day upset about my mom, she's the only one I can talk to. Yeah. And she's the only one I want to talk to. So we just really relied on each other, and moments like that.
Sure. You all created like great friendships too. I think people loved seeing the two of you specifically's love for Bergie, and individually your relationship with him, and as a couple your relationship with him. How did that evolve? Like, I think Bergie was having that male-female friendship that's just friendship can sometimes be difficult too, but you guys seem to have really connected.
Yeah. You want me to say one thing?
Yeah, go.
So from my point of view, I think having girl best friend is always, misconstrued. A lot of girls don't trust, the opposite guy, or a lot of guys don't trust their girl to have other guy friends. And I just thought that was a great example on how they were truly just good friends, could rely on each other. He could give her advice I couldn't. That's all I wanted to say. I think it was awesome they established, a co-ed bond that was one of the strongest in the villa. And if you ask any other girl in the villa, they can't really say they created that, Yeah. So to show that to USA, I think that's an amazing process.
Yeah, and like me and Bergie, I don't know, we're very different, but we just click. Like, we think the same about things. So we'd be seeing stuff in the villa, Bergie'd be like, yeah, that's weird. And I'm like, yeah. And then like sometimes so we let Marco in our little group later, but then it'd be me and Bergie like thinking the same. Then Marco would be over here like, nah. And then me and Bergie would team up on Marco. We're like, no. Like, so me and Bergie, we think the same. It was so funny when I was away at Casa. I was like, okay, no matter what, I know I have Bergie there. He's going to keep it real with me, and he's going to tell me what's what. And like, I appreciate that, because he was like, he didn't care about the bro code type thing. And like, he was just like, what's right is right, what's wrong is wrong. And I feel like I was similar with the girls. Like, okay, I have closer friends who are the girls, but I'm not just going to stick beside you just because if it's wrong. Yeah. So we both had like similar views on that, which is what I respect about him. And it's just crazy because we're very different backgrounds, very different like upbringings, but yeah, we just work. We're just friends. Yeah.
Sometimes the best friendships form that way. And like you said, like when people are like, when you're like, that's weird, and you can bond with someone over being like, yeah, I also think that's weird.
It's a great feeling.
Yeah.
For sure.
Bergie's change throughout the whole show was so inspiring. I know there's a little clip in the beginning, calling me a douchebag, or I called her a douchebag, but it was completely, I can't say much about it, but just know it was all friendship, manner in that sense. I've been Bergie's friend since day one. It was never, I started to build a friendship down the line. It was truly, that's kind of a little behind the scenes. We were always good friends from the first night. Every time in my life, I was part of a team, and, he's my teammate. So I'm gonna hold him accountable. I'm going to inspire him. I'm going to know that there's better, you got to have confidence. You're Bergie.
Yeah.
Whether you're here, I'm here, we're all the same. We're both here. I helped him. We changed our closets. We interchanged our closets. We were wearing everybody's thing. I told him to grow facial hair. He didn't want to. Mattia really was the one to get him to do it, because Mattia got his beard lined by the barber, and that was it. Didn't even get a haircut. And that's when Bergie was like, okay, I'm going to grow a beard. He just changed.
He has a chain now.
Yeah,
I know. Believe me. The next thing I was going to bring up was like, he obviously went through a lot of personal growth, but I felt like the physical things he changed like matched it. Like, he looked kind of like he had a little baby face when he first started, and like, and he ends with the girlfriend. He's got the beard, he's got the vibe. Like, he definitely like got a little sexier for sure. Like, I was like, okay, Bergie, like, good for you. Like, it totally matched, I think, his personal growth, and like speaking up for himself and doing all that was honestly awesome. But I was really sad when Grandpa Bergie like kind of said that they thought like maybe it was a forced thing. Did anybody in the villa agree with what Grandpa Bergie was saying, or did you guys feel that connection with him and Taylor?
Yeah, at the time it was relatively new, So I know that was a thought in the back of our head just because how protective we are of Bergie.
Yeah.
We love Taylor to death. I told Hannah, when she came back from college, you're gonna love Taylor. Her sense of humor is outside of this room. She makes me laugh, and it's just like an unbelievable time together. But I was so protective on Bergie. It was so hard for me to accept that because I saw him get curved, not talked to, wouldn't even get pulled for a chat. Moments away from when Taylor, talked to him, Bergie came to me. He's like, "Hey, Marco, I'm done.
Yeah,
hey, I'm done. I'm not pulling any more girls for a chat. If they want to talk to me, they can come to me, but I'm spent. My tank's empty." And that's exactly when Taylor pulled him. So I think it was great timing. In the back of our head, we had a little doubt because that's our boy. We don't want him, played in the long run.
Yeah, like what solidified it to me that because like I love Taylor as a person. Me and her from the jump, we clicked.
Yeah.
And so what solidified it for me was during family night when her mom said, "I knew you'd go for Bergie. He's your type." I knew it. So, and that's her mom, and Taylor's mom, that's her best friend. So I was like, oh, that's who she wants. So I feel like Grandpa Bergie also told me, he said, "I think that my grandpa just doesn't like the show in general." Like
that could be the case. Super fair.
He made a quick comment. He's seen more skin on Love Island than he did in the medical field for 50 years. So I thought that was amazing. That was funny.
Yeah.
He's probably just shocked by the show.
Right,
general.
He's probably like, "All right,
I've never seen
all
this
right,
before.
Bergie, time to come home." Right? It's just like let's wrap it up. I'm done watching this show. But no, that for sure. And there was all the connections really did seem genuine. I have to ask you guys because I don't know if you saw this, but Hannah, I feel like probably you. Marco, I don't know if you're very familiar with the Dumois and Instagram account. Anonymous submissions. There was something that kind of went viral that a popular Love Island couple, unnamed, had known each other before the villa, and they went in with the guise of winning the show. And a lot of people jumped to you guys because they felt like you guys had the strongest connection. Any thoughts on that?
I'll go first. I'll light this room up. No, no, absolutely not. It was not a thought. I understand, our types aligned perfectly. We never knew each other. I live in Ohio. She lives in Palm Springs. There were no mutuals. We didn't share the same gym. We didn't, correlate in any way or at all. There's no match there. I would have never crossed paths with her. She's older than me, 2 years older than me. Like I said, if I was on a dating app near her, our geolocations don't reach across the country. So
I've never been to Ohio. He lives in Florida now. Never been to Florida. Like, I really feel like if it wasn't for the show, we wouldn't have crossed paths in life because we're just
right. I mean, you live on the opposite side of the country.
If I saw her in the bar, she wouldn't get another breath out. Yeah. Don't get that.
I love that clarification. But no,
he would approach you in a bar if you were in the same state.
Right. It's like we didn't know each other, but if we did, like I would still talk to her.
100%.
Yeah. So now
we're not even from the same area,
Yeah. No, definitely. It's always a good thing to clear up. So now, like, what's the future got in store for you guys? I'm sure you're having these conversations, but you're back in the real world. You mentioned you want to see your families and go and talk and see everybody, but have you talked about what the next steps are for you guys as a couple?
Every day, all day. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I plan on moving to Florida. I haven't even been there, so we're going there tomorrow.
Florida's great.
So, what part of Florida?
Boca Raton is where I live.
Oh, nice.
Beautiful. Yeah. You'll love it.
Yeah, okay. So I'm like in a position where I always said, like, I'm not tied to Cali. So I always said, like, if I find my person, I'll move. And I feel like I found my person. So that's my plan.
Still good weather.
Yeah.
That's what, and then I remember in the villa, they said that like Boca is kind of like a Palm Springs in Florida, like similar vibe.
True.
So I'm like, as long as it's warm, that's what I like. So
it's definitely warm.
Yeah, and you're close to so many other great spots. We're down in like our families are down in like the West Palm Beach, Jupiter area.
Oh,
like it's
Beach.
it's like there's a ton. You really can't go wrong. Mm-hmm. So we highly support that decision to head to Florida.
Delray, great.
Delray, super fun.
Throw Social.
Yeah. I love Throw Social.
We're gonna have that place rocking. I'll tell you that. That's where we're going. That's our coming home party.
Perfect.
No, it's a great spot.
It's a great spot. So I'm glad you guys are making those plans, because I think one of the hardest things that people do when they get out of the show is you see them say like, oh, we're going to try and make the distance work and see what happens. And then that never actually pans out. So you kind of have to make that commitment to each other, I think.
Yeah, distance is a bullshit excuse. I truly think that, there's no reason to have, a distance excuse. I'm here. All I did was fly here. I am in school and I'm still doing my priorities.
Yeah.
She ended up coming in on me, recording me, getting onto my Zoom class. But for me, my near future is graduating college. It's a life goal of mine to do. I know some people are like, you don't have to. Why don't waste this moment where you're focused somewhere else. But for me, it was a promise I made my mom. I want my degree. I really do. So she's gonna help me get that. In the next by May.
Study buddy.
She's my study buddy. So
perfect.
Yeah, a little worry though at first in the villa was I'm just cemented in Florida, and she took that away like easy. I started my life there, started some businesses there. I have a couple properties there, so I wasn't really up to moving, and she took that away, and that's when I knew, this is my girl.
Yeah, it also works out good because I'm in a place in my life where like I'm done with school. Like I just started working last year. I'm still figuring it out, so it's kind of perfect time for this to happen.
Right. No, that's great. You guys can set up roots together, which is really a beautiful thing. So we're super excited. I mean, we were rooting for you guys the whole season for sure. I think, I very much support America's decision in who they wanted on top at the top of this whole thing. So we're very excited for you guys.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thanks for jumping on and talking with us.
Thank you so much.
Everyone, I know. Everyone, I know you were watching, so go and follow along with their journeys. It'll be a lot of fun. And thanks for coming on the show, guys.
No, thank you so much.
That Andy Warhol edit of that in the background, that Campbell soup, that is so tough.
Yeah.
I love art. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. We just really love soup. So that's
what that's for.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, awesome.
All right.
Thank you guys
nice
so much.
Guys. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye. You too.